failure, disappointment, anger, hurt, betrayal, regret. These are emotions that we will all come to feel at some point in our long and complex lives. We will all encounter challenges, some more obvious and others unforeseen, some more difficult and others less so. So how do we prevent these circumstances from breaking our spirit? What determines whether we rise stronger or remain unable to overcome them? That's what we're going to be talking about today. In the field of psychology, hardiness is defined as a personality style that helps people cope with stressful events. Someone who is hardy has three main traits. They have a sense of control over their lives, they are committed to experiencing the world, and they are able to see difficulty as challenges rather than threats. Social scientists have tested this theory on people in the military, athletes, firefighters, patients, families, students, corporate executives, and so on, and time again the results were the same. People who had higher levels of hardiness cope better with stress and are less likely to fall ill. So the question then is, how do we become hardier people? The first trait of hardiness is control. It is the belief that no matter what bad comes our way, we still retain a degree of control over our lives, or at least how we respond to the situation. Instead of spiraling and overthinking things that they cannot change, people who have a sense of control put their energy into things that they can solve instead. This isn't to say that if you want to have a sense of control, you should not acknowledge your feelings. You should always let yourself feel the full spectrum of emotions that you're feeling whenever challenges come your way. Let yourself grieve, let yourself vent, because the emotions that arise from these challenges are all legitimate, valid, and welcome. But as I shared in an Instagram post that I did a couple months ago, remember that whilst you hold space for these feelings are temporary. And what matters the most is that you have the agency over your response and over your life. Let me give you a personal example. For the past couple of months, I've been dealing with a back injury that at its worst prevented me from doing basic things like sitting, walking, even sleeping or lying down for too long without feeling pain. I was popping painkillers nearly every single day and doing physiotherapy at least 3 times a day because the pain was really quite bad. I went from playing sports and exercising nearly 3 to sometimes even 6 times a week to barely even moving at all. I know that my body does have the ability to get better and slowly rebuild to where I was before, as long as I give myself the time and the space to heal properly. So what does agency mean for me in this particular situation? It means breaking down the process of full recovery into very tiny bite-sized pieces and really just taking things one step at a time. So what that looked like for me was just resting a lot and just walking as my main form of exercise. And as my back pain slowly went away, as my body recovered on its own, I have since transitioned into doing really short 15-minute body weight workouts that are very easy and don't even break a sweat. But I know that if I try to ramp it up and go to 20 minutes or 30 minutes or more intense workouts, my back will not be happy. So doing this makes me feel like I'm in control of my own recovery. Even though I'm taking very tiny steps to get better, I am still moving in that general direction. Having autonomy also means having better coping mechanisms for my feelings. When I felt stressed or worried in the past, I used to exercise as my primary method for feeling better. But now that I can't do that, I have to turn to other things like journaling more often, doing more meditation, going for more walks without any music. Primarily, it's really been focusing on the things that I know I can do and I do have control over, rather than losing myself in the helplessness of the things that I can't. We all have routines of some sort, no matter how strict or fluid they may be. We all have people that we always hang out with, certain routines that we have at the workplace, hobbies that we constantly commit our time to. These facets of our everyday lives give us a sense of structure, organization, and focus. Having these solid pillars of constancy is particularly important when we are going through hardship. People who are hardy are committed to living out all these aspects of their lives and not just giving up on everything when an obstacle comes their way. Now, of course, sometimes we'll really be hit by some life-shattering news, like an illness or a death of a loved one, that can really make it feel so difficult for life to go on. But having commitment means that in spite of, or maybe even alongside the grieving process, we can keep believing or somehow even rebuild that belief that life is worth living. So how do we build commitment? I think a big part of this comes down to building a life that you want to be committed to in the first place. In other words, how much do you enjoy life as it is right now? Do you have people, activities, places that uplift, excite, and ground you? What do you find important and meaningful in your life right now? Do you have a clear understanding of your values and your goals? And when shit really hits the fan, do you try your best to continue being really committed and investing time in these things that matter to you? It's not just about enjoying life. Being committed is about resolving to live out your values, investing time into your relationships, doing your best at work, even in the face of challenges. You remain connected and not alienated from who you are and from those who matter to you. You don't let the problem consume you, and you're not afraid to reach out to those in your network to seek support from them if needed. Take the classic example of a breakup. Sometimes the sadness of losing a person can make us act in ways that are not like ourselves. They can drive us to do things that might not be very healthy, like eating entire tubs of ice cream, texting our ex and begging them to get back with us, or isolating ourselves from other people. Of course, all of this is a part of the grieving process, but there are also healthier ways to heal, like using your new free time to spend with loved ones, or to get fit, or to explore new hobbies. Someone who has a conviction to their life will allow themselves to be sad, but will also continue finding ways to live a life of high standards, and will probably even become a better person in this process. I'm extremely lucky because I've never experienced true hardship like living paycheck to paycheck, or being homeless, or having a terminal illness, or experiencing the loss of a loved one. But I know people in this world, some personally, like my grandparents, who have built themselves up from nothing, who have histories of abuse and poverty and true difficulty. These are the people who are truly hardy. And these people had the third trait of hardiness, which is seeing problems as challenges and not threats. People with the challenge mindset recognize that change is inevitable and that you can either accept it or use it as an opportunity to grow. So if you're faced with challenges, ask yourself these two questions. Can you change it? If yes, how? And if not, you just have to accept it and learn from the experience. The more you practice asking yourself this, the more it will become second nature to just ask yourself these questions whenever you're in the face of any difficulty. Of course, learning to let go and practicing detachment is a lot easier said than done. We are all human. It is natural to still mourn and cry and be upset when things don't go our way. I myself still do that. I still cling onto realities that feel comfortable and pay too much attention to things that I can't control. But for now at least, and this is something that I've learned from my past, every time that I've given power to my worry and my anxiety, the worst I feel in the moment. And so when I feel myself slipping into a victim mindset and moaning about my life, I do my best to recognize that and flip the switch. If change is really unavoidable, the least I can do is try to hold on and learn and grow from this ride that is life. Let me know if you enjoyed today's video, and with that, I'll see you guys in my next video.